Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a recommended video from my comment section. So I got this comment right here. It says, have you done a if I could only choose one brush video? I would love that. So I know I have done in the past, I think if I could only keep one or this or that, but seeing as I have gotten so many new brushes, there's a lot of competition now. So I thought, you know what, this will be fun. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple that I would choose from, and then I'm going to tell you which one I would pick in each category. And we're going to start off with the face, like foundation wise. I don't use a brush. I use sponges, and I have three that are my favorites out of all the sponges that I have. The Linda Hallberg sponge. This sponge is just like utter perfection to me. It has the perfect shape, and I like that it has one little, I have like hairs on here, sorry. There is a flat side, this side is more rounded, and then we have like the little butt of it. I like the way you can hold it right here. And then we have the L'Oreal sponge, which is affordable. I love these. Again, it kind of has the same shape, but it doesn't have that divot. And then you guys see me using this one all the time. And this one is from SONIA KASHUK, so another affordable option. This one from Linda Hallberg, I believe is $15, so it's the most expensive out of all of them. And it is harder for me to get them. It takes a long time for shipping and all that. And so anywho, despite that, this is my favorite sponge out of the three. So if I could only pick one, I would go with the Linda Hallberg sponge. This is the best sponge on the market in my personal opinion. I love these. I continuously buy them. I have like 3 or 4 of these, but I don't buy them as often because they are more expensive. However, if I was going to pick just one, Linda Hallberg sponge takes the cake. If you haven't tried this one before, I know it's still a little bit up there in comparison to these, but it's still cheaper than the Beauty Blender, so that's good. This is a great sponge. You should definitely check it out. Now we have to go into powder. So I don't know if I should do 2 different categories. I might do a bonus one at the end, but right now I'm just going to talk about like all the powder products for my face. So like when I set, when I buff, all of that, just powder in general. I have these 4 brushes as my options. The first one is from SONIA KASHUK. This is what I actually use today. This is what I consider to be the affordable option for the La Mer brush. This is the large powder brush, $22. It's synthetic. It's really great at, I really like to press in product, especially when I'm using a pressed powder. I feel like I can really just kind of get it into the skin, but then I can also use translucent and all of the above. Then we have my coveted, absolutely coveted La Mer powder brush. This is so soft. I've had it ever since it was released. It has held up beautifully. I have no issues with it. It's the perfect density and fluffiness to be able to pack or lightly put on a powder. So I feel like this does both, but I believe it's like $85. So again, a little bit up there. Then we have this one. This is from Royal and LANGNICKLE. This is the OMNIA Pro line, and it's the BOM 130. I use this, again, you can see it's dirty. I use it all the time. I love using this one mainly for translucent powders though. I don't pick this one up as much for like a pressed powder because it is a little bit more flimsy, super soft. Absolutely love it, but I usually use this one for a translucent powder, and again, it's affordable. Then the last one, Sonia G. This is from her Face Pro set, and it is the Face Pro. I love this brush for so many different things. My favorite way to use this is definitely to buff. I love using it to buff, and then it's great for bronzer. You can use this basically for anything on the face. It's just amazing. So which one would I pick? Come on. La Mer takes the cake, and it's because I feel like I could just do everything. Pressed powder, loose powder, buffing. It just does absolutely everything. It has been one of my ride or die brushes for just a really long time. So if I had to pick one, La Mer powder brush. That's where it's at. Now we're gonna move on to blush. I feel like I skipped over bronzer because that would technically be like the next step, but whatever, there's no rules. I'll talk about that next. I have 6 different brush options for blush. These are my current go-tos. I definitely have even more that I love for blush, but these are my current go-tos. I even have, like, I used this one today from REPHR, but these I would say are my favorites right now. So let's get into these. The first one is from Hallberg. Again, this one is synthetic, and I really love this to have like a lighter application. I love this with mineral powders, all of that. I just feel like this is such a soft brush, and it applies things really well. But if it is one of those gelée type of formulas, it doesn't pick those up as well. Then we have, again, something I've had in my collection for, I've had this MAC brush, which they don't make anymore. This is the natural hair version, but I'm just considering what I have in my collection. This is the MAC 129, and I have had this for like five or 6 years, and I love this. And the reason why I love it is because it is a little scratchy. It is a little scratchy, but I like it because it picks up any type of blush product I want. It will pick up everything because of that little bit of scratchiness to it. And that's kind of the same with the Isom X52, which I feel like I have replaced the 129 with because nobody can get the 129 anymore, and I like the shape of this one just a little bit better because the size of it, if I want it to be just a little bit more precise, it's not as itchy scratchy as this guy right here, but it will still pick up. It's not itchy scratchy. It's not super soft, but it's not itchy scratchy either, but it picks up product really well. So this is the X52. Love the size of it, and it will work for all different formulas. Then we have the Smith 118. This one is a denser packed brush right here. So you can get a whole lot of pigmentation. It buffs it in really well, and you can use this one for bronzer as well. And then a new love. I really like this brush. I really do. And this one is so soft. This is the REPHR 05. I just cleaned it. It's all nice and clean, but this just, ooh, it just puts it on without putting on too much, but then I can build it up. And then the last option is from SONIA G, and this is again from the Face Pro set, and this is the Cheek Pro. This one I find to work with all of the different formulas. It is very soft. I like the size of it. It's perfect, again, for just small applications, or I can really buff things in. So which one am I going to pick out of all of these? Just, if I had to keep just one. SONIA G, you win this one. So the SONIA G Cheek Pro, this brush is so beautiful. I love it so much. She's been killing the game brush-wise, and yes, so this one really wasn't that hard for me, I'm not gonna lie. I felt like I knew I was just gonna pick this one as soon as I got into the categories, but I just show you the other options as well. Now we are going to move on to bronzer. This time I only have 3 because these are my 3 go-tos right now. I pretty much, I don't think I really use anything else unless these are dirty for bronzer. Like, these are the ones that I want to pick up the most. You guys have heard me talk about this brush nonstop. I've called it my little mini Tom Ford brush because the Tom Ford one is just a little bit too big now with the hair situation that I've talked about a million times, so I won't go into. But this is the BOM 36 Natural Hair Omnia Gold line from Royal and LANGNICKLE. Just came back in stock. I've had a lot of comments, people talking about, I finally got my hands on this brush and they are loving it. I love it. It is so soft. You can use this for blush as well, but I've always loved this the most to apply my bronzer because it's soft, but it's natural hair, so it grabs, but it doesn't grab too much. It's just one of the most perfect bronzer brushes you can have. And then again, Sonia G. I love this brush. This is the one I can't pronounce. I don't know why. I'll leave it right here. And I'm not going to mess it up. This is, again, a part of her Pro line. And you guys see me using this mostly with powder type of formulas because this is very soft. It is so soft and it's tapered. It blends like a dream. I love this with my Hoola bronzers. I love this with my therapy system. I like it just with basically any type of powder style bronzer. I just think this is beautiful. And then lastly, but not least, this one from Isom. This is the X51. So just like the blush brush that I was talking about, this one is not itchy, scratchy, but it has just a little bit more grab to it. And this one will work for every single product. So if you're going to use a powder product, you're going to want to use a tapping motion because it will pick up a lot. But then products like this, I talked about this recently, how this guy right here is a little bit stiff. It actually will pick that up. It's what I'm wearing today. Like I have it all over. So you guys know I'm going to pick this one. I'm going to go with the X51 from Isom because it works for every formula, because I like such a wide range of bronzers that I feel like I would have to have a brush that would work for all of them. And really the X51, I get the 51 and 52 mixed up all the time. So the X51 will work for all of them. So I know no matter which bronzer I'm going to use, this one will not fail me. So the X51 it is. I feel like this one's going to be a dead giveaway as to what I would choose, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So let's get into highlighters. I have two brushes here, one from Linda Hallberg. This is the 306, and then I have the Anastasia A23. I do have other brushes that I could use for highlighting, but these are the two that I use the most, and they're so different from one another. This one is going to pick up product really well, and it disperses it really well. It can blend it into the skin, and I like this one when I have a product that is like the Marc Jacobs one. Like this guy right here, that formula is just so intense, and it's so powdery and so pigmented that if you put too much on, it can get kind of crazy. So this one will work the product in, but on a stiffer formula or just like almost like the gelée type of formula, I don't love this because I feel like I don't pick it up. And there were so many highlighters that I had in my collection that I didn't realize I liked until I got this brush. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you that this is the winner, and it's because of that reason. So the 306 from Linda Hallberg, I can lightly put on things, I can blend it into the skin really, really well, but it works really well for a lot of different, I keep wanting to say bronzers, highlighters. The Melt Cosmetics Stargazer, I was like, this is nothing. I didn't like that highlighter at all. Then I tried it with this in one of my Shop My Stashes. I was like, I love this highlighter. It's same thing with the Burberry and then a couple of other ones. So I realized that this brush just picks up product so well and will lay it down. You can get really precise with it. So this was easy. Definitely would take the 306 for my highlighter. Now for the absolute hardest decision I have to make, and that is for eyes. And I feel like with eyes, I use 8 to 10 brushes in one eye look. You know, not all the time, but sometimes I use a lot of different brushes. I will use a clean one to blend things out. I will use one to pack on color, and then I'll use a different one to pack on a different color, and then one to blend, and then one to be more precise to blend. So this is a hard one, and I feel like it's only fair that I pick a packing brush and a blending brush because I feel like there's just no way to pick one. So I feel like maybe I'm cheating, but I also feel like I'm not. So I'll tell you which one I would pick if I could only pick one, and then I'll tell you my second one that I would add in, just to keep everything as fair as possible. And I have just picked up a handful. I have so many favorite eye brushes, like it's not even fair. Like I could talk about so many more than just these. I'm just looking around at all my brushes and being like, I'm so sorry that I'm not picking you up. There's just too many to talk about. So I narrowed it down to these. All right, let's get ready. The Isom W21. Perfect packing brush. It has been what I have used to replace the MAC 242 for everybody who can't get their hands on the original one now. So this right here and this one right here, these are my two favorite for adding on color to the lid, especially like pigments, because they pick up pigments really, really well because they're thinner and they just go on better with this style of brush. And then another packing brush, which would be along the lines of like the MAC 239. However, this one is better than the MAC 239. This is the Builder 3 from SONIA. Gee, I just can't. I can't. Every time it rhymes and it gets me. This brush I have truly fallen in love with, and I certainly plan on picking up more because I just love it so much, as well as the one from Isom. This one, especially with whatchamacallit, matte shades or any type of metallic that I'm not trying to foil or do anything like that with, this is just so good. It has like this little taper to the edge of it. It's the perfect thickness. It's just beautiful. So those are the three when it comes to packing. And then let's talk about blending. So I blend on the lid, I blend on the crease, transition area, underneath the eye, so everywhere. Gosh, this is hard. S33 from Isom. I love this one. Natural hair goes into the crease so nicely, and I feel like I could use this one right underneath the lower lash line as well. Beautiful brush. And this one right here, this is from Sonia G. This is the Crease 2. I really like this one for in the crease area and then transition area, but it would be a little bit big for down below. And then the Goss number 19, this is like the MAC 221 replacement, and I really love doing the outer V right here when I want to just pack on some color and add just really some definition into the crease, and I can use this one for the lower lash line. Then we have, this is hard, Sonia G Blender Pro, same thing, crease transition, amazing, and it has natural hair. It's so soft and it always goes back to this shape, and I just love it. And the Crease Pro, just a little bit smaller than the last one. And then Zoeva 227. I love this brush. It is a synthetic and natural hair blend. This pretty much took over for the 217 for me. I love this brush for the very first shade to put down, you know, just putting it on the outer corner, blending it into the crease transition. It's just perfect. 227 from Zoeva. And then, whoop, this is another brush that helped me with my 217 woes, and this is the Goss number 18. It's just a little bit slightly different shape, not as long, but it serves the same type of purpose. I can get into the crease, I can blend things out. I could probably use this one along the lower lash line, but it would be difficult. And then last option is the Goss number 17. So this one is a little bit more tapered. I feel like I can do the outer part of the eye, the inner crease work, and I have used this to tap on pigment to my lid. And it is a little bit big for the lower lash line. However, I think that because it's tapered, that little tip would make it to where I could get right at that lash line. With that being said, out of all of these, if I had to pick just one, it would actually be this brush. And I thought about this, you guys, and I thought about the tutorials I have done in the past and how I've used the brushes. And I feel like I could do a complete eye look with this brush. There's several I could do a complete eye look, but I feel like the easiest way to do it would be with this one. So the Goss number 17. I know I can blend out a crease. I know I can get definition. I know I can get on the outer corner. I know I can take this on its side and pack things onto the lid. I know I could get the tip of this and get on the inner corner and right underneath. And then I could take it on its side and just kind of lightly go at my brow arch. So this is the winner for that. But if I was able to pick a second one to use as a packing brush, I am going to go for the Isom W21. And the reason being is because this is going to work so well with glitters, like today. It is going to work really well with packing any type of metallics. It works well with mattes. I do think that the SONIA G Builder 3 works better with mattes. So it was hard to pick between these two. I'm telling you, this was difficult. But if I had to pick just one, it would be this one because I feel like I would get a little bit wider of a range for packing on the lid for different looks. Glitter, metallics, everything. So this is the winner. Now for an extra, I feel like maybe it's like a cheat, I don't know, but I figured you guys might want to know the answer to this question if I had to pick just one buffing brush. Obviously, I picked the La Mer powder brush as my everything. So if I wanted to, yeah, I could use that. I used to use it every single day for my buffing. Now, I'm going to just add this in just as in case you were wondering. So let me pick out my brushes that I will talk about and I'll tell you which one I would pick. All right, I've got 4 different brushes. So I'm going to start off with this one right here from SONIA G. Again, I know you guys are seeing the same type of names. That's because I have preferences. This is the Sculpt 2. You guys see me all the time just taking this. It is so soft, but like the perfect density to really just buff things into the skin. And then another option, a synthetic version that's just a little bit bigger. So if you could see these side by side, this one is from MAC. I used to use this all the time for buffing, and actually I liked it for setting my face as well. This is the 140S, and this does a little bit better of a job of like if you really need to get in there and blend something out, like if it's stuck or something. Like every once in a while I'll have some random spot right there and you just gotta get into it. This one works really well. It's a little bit bigger. We can get things done just a little bit faster. And then of course, good old La Mer brush. I love this one for buffing. I just think it's beautiful, and you guys have seen me use it a million times. And then we have the Tom Ford bronzer brush, which is one of my favorite brushes of all time. This is the natural hair version, but I actually do like the synthetic version as well to buff with, but I just picked this one up, and I don't like to suggest the synthetic version to people because I don't like that they kept the same price and I don't feel like it's the same exact quality. So that is why I just grabbed the natural hair version. So this right here is so nice because it's so big. The density is really perfect to really just buff in your powders. And I used to use this all the time for my bronzer because of the same factor. It just blended things out so nicely. But again, platinum hair problems, things just go way too far. Out of the 4, which one am I going to go for? I am going to pick SONIA G. So this is the Sculpt 2. This honestly has been my go-to ever since I got it for buffing. Doesn't matter which powder I use, I just love this so much. because I can just get right where I need to, because sometimes I don't want to overdo it. And so it's small enough and also big enough, and I just, oh, I love it. And it's so soft and it buffs everything in just really, really well. I like the shape of it. If I want to cut this area out and then the kind of like let it sit there for just a second before blending it out, that does it really well. So it gives me some shape if I need to. So this is just the obvious winner for me. So if I was allowed to pick another powder brush for buffing, it would be this one. That is it, you guys. I'm going to try to remember all of these brushes and leave them linked down below. So now you guys have all the answers to which one I would pick if I could only pick one, but then you have other options as well if there was something you were like, ooh, I was looking at that. I will list them all down below. And thank you for the suggestion. I like getting suggestions because it helps me sometimes. I just get in a rut and I don't know what I want to film. So yeah, thank you for the suggestion. Thank you for watching, and let me know down below, what are your brushes? Which ones would you pick? And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.